In this video, we are going to discuss about the cost of capital part 2. So first, we will discuss about the significance of cost of capital. So significance means you can take it as importance or uses of cost of capital, or you can take it as applications. Where do we use this concept called cost of capital? So first is investment valuation. So when you talk about investment, we talk about the long-term investment, especially uh, in terms of investing in a business or expanding the business or modernizing the business or buying the new business. All these are some examples of investments. So when you want to make investments, you have so many alternatives available to you. So you need to decide which is better, which investment will fetch you better returns. So for that purpose, we are going to use cost of capital. So as you all know that uh, time value of money can be used to find out the present value of inflows. So here also you're going to find out the inflows, that means cash inflows generated from your investment. Okay, and accordingly you need to find out the present value of your future cash inflows, because when you invest, the cash inflows will generate in the future. So you need to convert that to present value using a discount factor. So that discount factor is nothing but your cost of capital. Okay, then based on that discount factor you will find out the PV of all future cash inflows and compare with the cash outflows. Then you decide which is better. Okay, you will find out the net flow, that is PV of cash inflows minus cash outflows. So whichever investment is having more net cash flows, that will be chosen. So for calculating discount factor and deciding which investment is better, you will use the discount factor or cost of capital. Then coming to the next point, designing debt policy or capital mix. So capital mix means you are going to decide how much you are going to use the borrowed fund and how much you are going to use the owned funds. Thus this is borrowed fund, that is debt, and equity is your own funds. So this cost of capital will help you to decide how much proportion of debt and how much proportion of equity you are going to have. For example, if the loan is available at a lesser cost and if the company is capable of repaying the loans, then you may use more portion of debt. Okay, or if the company is well reputed, it can raise the funds through debentures from the public at a lesser interest rate, because investors will look for safety rather than the returns when they invest in bonds. So they would like to invest in reputed companies. So reputed companies can raise the funds through debentures borrowed from the public at a comparatively cheaper cost than the non-reputed companies. So depending upon the cost of capital, you can decide how much you are going to have debt and how much you are going to have equity. Okay, if the debt is available at cheaper cost, you can use more of debt and less of equity. So depending upon the uh, situation, the company can decide the capital mix, or you call it as a capital structure. Then coming to the next point, it is used as a basis for evaluating the financial performance. Okay, if the company is doing well, meaning that it is able to generate more returns than the cost of capital incurred by the business, then the financial performance will be better. That means the management is very effective in deciding its capital mix, and accordingly it will be able to manage its cost of capital and generate more returns from the capital invested in the business. Okay, if the cost of capital is comparatively lesser than the returns, or the other way, if the return generated from the business is more than the cost of capital, the financial performance will be better. That means the management is more efficient in maintaining the financial health of the firm. Then coming to the next one, it is used as a base for taking other financial decisions such as dividend decisions or capitalization of profits. For example, you know that especially equity shareholders will be given dividends. Suppose if the company wants to expand, they need not issue dividends. So they can use the retained profits uh, to expand or modernize the business. Okay, that means it is free of cost. You need not pay any cost on that. Okay, so retained profits, uh, that means that profit can be retained in the business itself, and that profit can be used for further investment to expand the business or modernize the existing business or buy another business. Because always investors would think when there is an opportunity for a company to expand and generate more returns, uh, they expect the company to invest the profits generated into some other business to generate for more returns. Okay, so in that case, if the company is having more opportunities for growing in terms of expansion or modernization, they may distribute less of dividends and retain more of profits, which can be further used in the business. So that in turn will reduce the burden on the company to raise further capital because already existing profit you are using. So it is comparatively less costly. There is much less cost it will incur. Then coming to the capitalization of profits, okay, the same, it is related to the dividend decisions. If you are able to capitalize, that means we are able to convert your retained profits into capital, let's say into equity, instead of issuing dividends or distributing dividends, you can convert those retained profits into shares. You can issue bonus shares, and that instead of showing it as retained profit, after converting into capital form, it will be shown as capital in the balance sheet of a company. So when the company is not having access to generating more capital for the time being, they can use this dividend. Or if the company faces problem in managing cost of capital, they can use the retained profits. So that helps them to decide whether to retain the profit or distribute the profit. Next, coming to the determination of cost of debt. That means it is talking about calculation. When you say determination in finance, you are going to calculate the cost of capital. First, we are going to discuss the determination of cost of long-term debt. That means long-term debt means it is for so many years, more than 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, etc. So in that case, we are going to discuss about first category, cost of debt. So first we would discuss about the features of bonds or debentures. Okay, as you know that bonds or debentures, it's also for a borrowed form of money for which you will pay interest and also the principal amount after maturity to the bondholders or debenture holders. Um, but it is borrowed from the public, not from the financial institution. When you say loan, it is borrowed from the financial institutions and banks, whereas the debentures or bonds, the money is raised through public. That means you will issue to the public and get funds for which you will pay interest. So first one is face value. As the name indicates, every debenture will have its face value. That means value written on the face of the document, uh, which may be like uh, 10 rupees, 100 rupees, etc. So this is the face value, or you call it as a par value. Then next coming to the interest rate, or it is also known as coupon rate. That is the amount of interest paid on the debentures or bonds by the company to the debenture holders or bond holders. Okay, so as you all know that borrowed money, it is not free, you have to pay interest. So that interest rate is mentioned in the terms and conditions of the bond. Coming to the maturity period. So the maturity period is a time period during which the company can have the borrowed fund, and during that period the company will have to service its debts. That means it has to pay regularly the interest amount, or it may pay in terms of installments including both interest and principal. So if it is 5 years, after 5 years you have to repay all the principal amount. Coming to the redemption value. So redemption value means the money which is to be repaid towards the maturity is called redemption value. So redemption value, it can be at the par value. That means you will repay the principal at par value or at premium. For example, you have issued one bond, let's say at 100 rupees. If it is to be paid at par, you will pay 100 rupees. So, or if it is to be repaid at 10% premium, so you will pay for each bond 10% premium. So 100 plus 10% is 110. So at the end of maturity, you will redeem the bond at 110 rupees. If the bond carries a feature that at the end of the maturity period, the bond will be repaid with 10% premium. And here also same case, when you talk about face value, at the time of issuing bonds to generate funds, you may issue at premium. Let's say 100, 10% premium. You may issue one bond at 110, or you may issue at 10% discount, just for example. You may issue at 90 rupees, or you may even issue at par value, depending upon the reputation of the company. And coming to the last point, based on repayment of the principal, you can classify bond into redeemable debentures and irredeemable debentures. So redeemable means it is talking about repayment of the principal. So when you mention the time period for repaying the principal, it is called redeemable. When you talk about irredeemable, there will not be any time mentioned when the bond will be repaid. That means when you don't have any time during which the principal will be repaid, it is called irredeemable. It is not mentioned in the bond. Okay, that is irredeemable when the time is not mentioned. So the company may have rights to call back the bond after some period of time based on the agreement relating to the debentures. Okay, so one thing you have to remember is redeemable means it will be redeemed, or the principal will be repaid after a specific time period mentioned in the bond agreement. Whereas irredeemable, there is no mention of time, it continues for a long time. Whenever the company decides as per the agreement, they can call back when they desire. For example, if they have option to call back the bond after 5 years, they may call 6th year, 7th year, they may call back the bond and repay the principal. So that is irredeemable debentures. So you will not have the time data given to you to calculate the cost of irredeemable debentures, whereas redeemable means you will have the time. So here you will have n in case of redeemable. Here you don't have n value given in the problem. So based on this, you are going to calculate the cost of capital. Okay, so first we will discuss about the formulas used to calculate cost of redeemable debt. Okay, as the name indicates, the cost of debentures which are not redeemed by the issue of the debenture is known as irredeemable debentures. So here it is irredeemable. Change the heading as irredeemable. Okay, the cost of debentures which are not redeemed by the issuer of the debenture is known as irredeemable debentures. Okay, that means redeemed means not repaid here, not redeemed by the issuer. So the value of n will not be there. Cost of debentures not redeemable during the lifetime of the company is calculated as follows. So here KD is cost of capital and I is the annual interest payment and NP is the net proceeds. So net proceed means at the time of issuing, let's say if you are issuing at 100 rupees for one bond, and let's say um, the marketing expenses, because when you are issuing debentures or bonds to the public, you have to do marketing exercises for which you will have to incur some cost, and you will also depend on brokers to sell the debentures and get funds. So all these costs you have to subtract from the value at which you are issuing the bonds. For example, if you are issuing at 100 rupees and the marketing and other expenses like brokerage is 10 rupees, so 100 minus 10, that is your net proceeds. Suppose if the net proceeds or if the price at which the bond is issued to the public is not given, you can take it as current market price. Okay, as you know that the bonds will also be traded in the stock market, so it will have a market price. If you are issuing at the current market price, if you are selling the bond at the current market price, then the NP will be equal to current market price. Then T is the tax rate. As the name indicates, it's a debenture. So debenture can be treated as a, that is, interest on debenture can be treated as an expense in the profit loss account. So it will help, it is helpful to gain in terms of tax benefits. You are able to reduce tax because when you show interest as an expense in your profit loss, the profit will reduce, hence the tax burden will also be reducing. That's why we are taking 1 minus tax. Since there is a tax benefit on issuing bonds, the company pays interest. That interest is tax deductible. That's why 1 minus T. So again, net proceeds is equal to issue price minus issue expenses, as we have already discussed. Issue expenses means marketing cost, brokerage cost, etc. If issue price is not given in the problem, they can assume it as equal to current market price. Okay, if the issue price is not given in the problem, you can take market price as the NP value, that is net proceeds. And if the issue expenses are not given, you have to assume that it is 0. So this is very important when you calculate the cost of irredeemable debentures. So you can see in the formula nowhere they are using the value of n. N is not there. Then coming to the cost of redeemable debt. So cost of redeemable debenture, as the name indicates, you will have the value of n. You can see the value of n. Okay. So it is a reduced formula. As you all know that we have discussed present value of inflows and cash outflows. So you will go with calculating PV of cash inflows and compare with outflows. So that formula is reduced using an approximation formula. So you can see cost of redeemable debentures is equal to I, interest. I stands for interest paid and T stands for tax rate applicable to the company, and NP, net proceeds, it is same as the one which we have discussed in the previous slide, and RV is the redemption value. As we have already discussed, it may be repaid at par or premium. Okay, and N is the life of the debentures, that is time period during which it will be redeemed. What is the time period after which the bond will be repaid, the principal will be repaid. Okay, so here you can see one more thing, the above formula is to calculate cost of debt when there is a option of deducting interest on, that is interest on debt is tax deductible. So as you all know that whenever the bond is having the feature of tax things, you can, that is tax benefits as per the tax laws, this formula can be used. So majority of the problems will be based on this particular formula for redeemable debt. Okay, so thank you for watching.